Hello, everyone. My name is Trinity Gomez, and in this section, we took a deep dive into 3 of the 4 programs, GRS, NWF, and NOAA, by conducting semi-structured interviews with a number of schools and their program coordinators. As a collective, we chose not to focus on LEAD because after the initial program review, students felt that the other 3 programs had stronger curricular integration that we wanted to learn about. In addition to the 3 programs, NOAA, NWF, and GRS, some students wanted to look at some regional differences in the implementation of these programs. This section, we will share the results of the interviews and our understanding of how green school practices are implemented based on this outreach. Next slide, please. So here is a quick overview of the programs by criteria. Ecological and environmental sustainability, which was strong across all programs, but had some variability across regions. Health, which had strong focus in 2 out of the 3 programs, GRS and NOAA, and pedagogy, which was also strong across all programs and had some variability across regions. We will go into further detail program by program, and to get us started, here is my classmate Camden.
And then, hello, my name is Camden Levitt, and I will be going over our findings of the National Wildlife Federation's EcoSchools program. Our group reached out to 24 schools who were registered in the EcoSchool database. We reached out for interviews through both phone and email, but we had a very small response rate of only about 8%. We were able to conduct 2 phone interviews with teachers, and in addition to these, we also were able to conduct an email interview with a staff member of NWF, which we did not include in the response rate. We believe that the ongoing pandemic most likely had some influence on this very low response rate, but it is impossible to say for certain. From the information that was shared with us, however, we did discover that the NWF program does indeed provide a very strong pedagogical and curriculum-rich program, but this is not necessarily the exact answer for all schools. One teacher we spoke with said how it felt like the program was just an abundance of extra paperwork. This indirectly left out students who couldn't yet read or were still learning how to read. And the students who could said they preferred doing hands-on activities over going through the NWF curriculum. What was interesting to note, however, was that this school, Wildflower Open Classroom, had already undertaken many green school projects and initiatives prior to participating in the NWF program. And the teacher mentioned how most of the content provided was not necessarily bad or false information. It was just introductory when compared to what they had already accomplished for their school, and therefore it just felt like an extra paper load. Another issue that was shared by both schools was the responsibility for the program often fell on single individuals, usually teachers, as time progressed. Schools would follow EcoSchool's initial recommendations of having student-led committees, but as students would age up out of the school, it was more difficult to constantly retain student involvement. And so individual teachers would have to champion these projects. And this became counterintuitive to the initial intentions. And over time, teachers would begin to express disinterest as students would continue to express disinterest. Again, this is not necessarily to say the program is bad for all students, though. For those who are capable of understanding it and want to learn more about how to become a green school for the first time, the curriculum provided by NWF is almost unmatched. It introduces students to ecological pathways or fields of ecological significance that a school can focus on based on their needs and desires. Some examples of the pathways are shown below, and these include consumption and waste, transportation, and sustainable food. The pathways cover a wide variety of topics, and it can introduce students to a whole new range of green issues and solutions at their school and in their wider communities. And this ties back to our earlier discovery, however, that the program is strong for helping schools start their green journey, but if they are already aware of the pathways they need to undertake, the NWF program is a little bit redundant. To summarize our findings, based off the experiences that were shared with us, we concluded that NWF's EcoSchools program is an incredibly strong introductory program for curious green schools to be, but it is less successful for green schools that are. The program also appears to fall off as a long-term sustainability project. This is not to undermine its strengths, however. Again, the pedagogy provided by the EcoSchools is incredibly strong by those who are able to utilize it. It is through this well thought out curriculum that those with little to no prior experience can gain the skills and instruction to begin an effective transformation, but then it will ultimately be up to them to continue that process and ensure that that lasts. We recommend this program as, again, an excellent introductory program for schools beginning their journey, but it will not necessarily provide the same experience to an established green school. And then now my friend Brittany will go over our findings for the next program.
Hi, my name is Brittany, and I will be discussing the NOAA Ocean Guardian program. We chose to focus on the Monterey and Santa Cruz County region due to the fact that these schools had a higher number of NOAA programs across all school types. We wanted to better understand and explore the program's overall effectiveness and if the program reaches marginalized communities. In order to gather data, we outreached to 36 schools and conducted 7 interviews. Even though 11 responded, some schools responded informing us that the program is no longer being implemented on their campus. When analyzing data and looking at the big picture, we noticed that the program did a wonderful job in promoting student engagement on and off campus, community outreach with Monterey Bay Aquarium and Elkhorn Slough, strong curriculum with sustainability as most of the projects were project-based learning on and off campus. In regards to highlights, this program does an excellent job maintaining and advocating for ocean conservation and preservation. They do this by reducing plastic on campus, by implementing the 5 Rs and recycle bins throughout the campus, waste management audits on campus correlated with the cafeteria and culinary school, as well as focusing on habitat restoration and sustainable gardens on and off campus. We saw these trends occurring across multiple schools, and this then leads to our analysis where we determined that this program has a strong pedagogy, environmental, ecological sustainability, student impacts, and strong ecological and environmental health. A quote from the Santa Catalina school states, "We found the kids became more confident in speaking. We have them make presentations in front of their classmates and school board. We've also collaborated with other schools in Southern California, making presentations with them." This is a direct reflection of how well the program functions as students engage with local and surrounding communities in order to address environmental concerns. This can be seen in the image as students are holding up signs advocating for earth systems and plastic reduction, while trash bags are full of litter. They are actively involved in making the environment a better place for all. Some challenges we noticed pertain to staff and administration, as in if the individual overseeing the program leaves or administration turns over, the program is then discontinued. Another challenge is campus culture, and this pertains to staff as well as students. We have noticed that staff members and students misinterpret the intention of the program's goals in terms of sustainability and waste audits. This then leads to tension between the individual facilitating the program on campus and the staff. Next, I would like to introduce Trinity and Michaela as they discuss the following slide.
Hello again. So this is a deeper look into the Green Ribbon School Award, and I wanted to start off the section with a quote from the GRS coordinator that states, "Most of the people that are doing this work are so eager to share what they are doing with others, because once you start this work, you're engaged in something more than that's just an application, but it's a global movement, and you can feel that this is their tribe now." We felt this really encompassed the culture that this award creates within their communities and other awardees. Next slide, please. For GRS, we reached out to 18 schools, we got 7 responses, and conducted 5 interviews with a variety of school types, whether it was public, private, charter, or magnet. One of the biggest takeaways was how effective the 3-pillar system was in working to create interconnectedness between wellness, environmental impacts, and literacy and education in general. The other takeaway, as mentioned in the first slide, was how connected the awardees are with both the GRS coordinator and other participants, which allowed for great support in completing the award and green school practices. Health and wellness practices were also strongly recognized as part of sustainability and are practiced throughout all the awardees. Some examples of how the schools were conducting these sustainable practices included Gardens for Literacy and Wellness, and there was a multitude of schools who did this while completing their award and used them as pedagogical tools for teaching in STEM, as well as a space for refuge for their students during stressful times. Student-run waste audits were done at one school every year, where students had to sort waste and recycling while also doing math conversions of the weight of each type of waste. And it was a great way to incorporate sustainability into education. The incorporation of wellness came through in various activities. The little things like participating in school kindness challenges were done, where you can just do something as small as opening a door for someone or giving someone a compliment. These were instrumental in maintaining student wellness. It's not always the big gestures or projects that are needed to make a difference. With that being said, there were still some challenges that schools faced while participating in this award application. And next, we'll be talking about some of those challenges.
Hi, my name is Michaela, and I'm going to be talking about some of the challenges the schools faced. To start off, I will talk about the Anderson W. Clark Magnet High School. Their struggle was dealing with time, resources, and getting past the COVID hiccup. It's kind of the biggest set of limitations right now. Once COVID began, they had to stop their sustainable practices such as their single-use plastics and beginning to use them again to prevent the spread of the disease. This has been a major challenge for them that they are hoping to make their sustainable practices strong again since we are on the upward side of COVID. Clark Magnet High School and the Maple Village Waldorf School shared a challenge. It was keeping green practices going even after they had obtained their award. There is no external validation after the award. One solution for this is to have the students be in charge of such things to keep them involved in constantly learning and passing on their knowledge to the future generations that come. Lastly, the Green Ribbon Schools coordinator stated a common challenge brought to him is that less fortunate schools simply do not have the resources. A solution he proposed was that you do not need the money or to do big things. Start with the small things, such as requesting a full printout of an electricity bill or water bill and seeing how much they are currently using and try to reduce the amount every year. And Judah will be talking about the regional analysis.
Hi, my name is Judah, and instead of a deep dive into individual programs, my group chose to do a regional analysis of all the previously mentioned programs, as well as schools with no green awards or green certifications, in order to assess their effectiveness and discover any similarities or differences on a regional scale. We split up our regions just like the state, so by Northern, Central, and Southern California, and we contacted 23 schools throughout the state. Of these 23 schools, 57% did not respond, 19% declined an interview, and 24% were successfully interviewed. And of these successfully interviewed schools, more than half of them were in Southern California, and 33% were in Central California, and only 17 in Northern California. Also, an interesting thing to note is that most of the schools that declined an interview were a part of the NWF program, so National Wildlife Federation, which happened to be our least responsive program. And because of that, they were not included in any of our research or our results. So only the NOAA, Green Ribbon, and then schools without green awards or green certifications. And another interesting thing to note is that our most responsive program was the Green Ribbon program. And now we'll get more into the results portion of this.
Hi, my name is Azil, and I'll be going into a bit more detail about our regional analysis. The schools interviewed gave us some insight on some of the barriers schools face in implementing any certification or recognition programs. As you can see on the two maps on the left, they depict the northern and central region as very spread out and scarce in schools that were already recognized. Compared to our Central Coast region and Southern California region on the right, we found the opposite. More schools were recognized and certified and diverse in Southern region, and the Central Coast was mostly NOAA Ocean Guardian recognized and more clumped together. The interviews informed us that schools all around face barriers, such as population and income dependency, which lead into funding and overall access, such as travel times to certain resources. On a brighter note, our interviews included schools that were not certified or recognized by any program, which gave us a sense of hope that schools that might not be under any form of recognition are still finding ways to implement green practices, such as environmental and recycling clubs, just to create a conversation. And with that, I conclude our section on sustainable practices and lead it into a transformative potential.